Our subject tonight is obey God at all times. Exodus 17 and verse number 1. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin, after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. And they were there at whose commandment? The Lord. Keep that in mind, that the Lord led them to this place where there was no water. Verse 2, wherefore the people did chide with Moses. They exercised their disapproval very harshly and said, give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? In other words, what Moses was saying, we're here at the commandment of the Lord. Why do you want to murmur and complain to me? So, in leadership roles in the church, you have to be very careful about how you respond to the people. You're going to get all kinds of complaints. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody is going to want things done their way. I have and I don't. If you haven't heard this, you will eventually. Well, I don't see why we have to do it that way. But the reason you don't see it is because you're in a leadership role. If you're in a leadership role, God is talking to you if you're listening. God knew wasn't no water there. Glory. He's led us into some places where we didn't have what we needed. He knew it before he led us there. Question, in your opinion, why would God lead somebody into a place where there's not sufficiency of what they need? Uh-huh. Huh? Uh-huh. Deacon? Yeah. See, and this is what we are constantly in a war. You know, it ain't, I'm not in a war with you or with God. I'm in a war with myself. That's why the apostle said, I buffet my flesh. This flesh is going to always go against the grain. That's the character of the flesh. Moses said, why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? Verse 3, and the people thirsted there for water. And the people murmured, grumbled, complained against Moses, and said, wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst. Why have you done this? What is worse? Lack of water or lack of food? Water. You got to have that water. It does so much for the body, more so than food. Verse 4. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, what shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. Now, right there is a perfect example of what we should do when we are having issues with the people. What did Moses do? Went to the Lord. Went to the Lord. And you see, a lot of times, from a leadership point of view, people want decisions now. Well, you can't give the people an answer till God give you the answer. And they sang a song. What is one of the things we can't do? Woo! I would like to, but you can't make him hurry up. Jesus, he know what he's doing. And I go back to some Bible class I was telling you on. As born again Christians, what's one of the things we got to learn to do more than anything else? Huh? Wait. Boy, this flesh don't like it. Gosh, I don't like it. Don't tell me I got to wait. Especially when it comes to God. And here's the mind. You got all power. It ain't like you got to go and get somebody's permission. You ain't got to fill out no forms. You ain't got to wait for the board to get back to you. Woo, Shabbat. But he say, wait. And they that wait upon the Lord, what is it? Come on. It's coming. You're going to be renewed. So says the Bible. Gosh, I was reading something the other day. Now, when I was in the world, God ministered to me through a song by Sam Cooke. Any of y'all know that? Yeah, change. Huh? Change is gonna come. A change. A change is gonna come. I read that when Sam Cooke recorded that song, he told some of his friends that I don't feel right singing it. They say he only sang it once, and some lady shot him. And he didn't know if that song was a premonition. I don't know. But in your spiritual walk, you got to know, you got to believe that things is going to change. God ain't going to leave them like that. Oh, glory. If you're in want, you will not constantly stay there. At some point, God is going to move. Oh, glory. Shabbat. Move. This is, you can't allow the people to force your hand. Well, they complaining and they doing this, they leaving, they doing this, they won't come out, they doing this, blah, 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 blah. Wait on the Lord. Don't you make no sudden moves because you're going to mess up something. All right. He said in verse 4, they be almost ready to stone me. And the Lord said unto Moses, go on before the people, I'm in verse 5, and take with thee of the elders of Israel and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river. Take in thine hand and go. Start walking. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb. Where's the rock? In Horeb. And thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. Now, how many in the wilderness? Give me a number. How many people? In that neighborhood. How long do you think that water was gushing out of that rock for all those millions of people and the beasts to get a Now, in another scripture, it told him to gather around the rock, this rock. Now, how big is the rock where all these millions of people can see it so they'll know where to gather? This is a big rock. Y'all agree with that? You got millions of people that's told to gather around the rock. Where they got to be able to see it. Where is it? It's not a pebble. It's not a big boulder. It's huge. Keep that in mind. So now, this was his first visit, first command to strike the rock. Let's go to Numbers 20. Yeah, 20:1. Then came the children of Israel, listen, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in where? Kadesh. Now they came from where? Where? Horeb. They came from Horeb to Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there. Now, Kadesh is 110 miles from Horeb. You can look it up. It's 110 miles. Keep that in mind. Verse 2, and there was no water for the congregation. Again, again, there was no water for the congregation. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. Why were they against Aaron? Huh?
He was one of the leaders.
One of the leaders. Him and Moses was on the same page. He was subject to Moses. Verse 3. And the people chode with Moses and spake, saying, would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. The people done forgot the last miracle already. Ain't even thinking about it. I'm thirsty. But didn't God? Let me ask you, how does what God has done for you in the past help you in the present?
Helps us to know that if he did it for us then, whatever we go through, we can look back on that.
Ooh.
That he did it for us then.
Because more than likely, I'm going to run up on some of the same stuff that I done experienced before. Ain't nothing. So, if he done it once, he's the same God. Why is my faith so weak? Can't I remember? God. Yes, sir. If he don't. I wonder if we have that constitution in us, that if he don't do it, I ain't going back. God, Coach Shabbat. I ain't giving up. If he don't. Oh, glory. Job had come to the conclusion that God was slaying him. What scripture lets us know that? But who was actually doing it? Satan. Because he told Satan, all he has is in your power. Don't touch his life. After he took everything from him, he went back to God. He said, skin for skin. Let me touch him. I'll make him curse you to your face. Because, well, go ahead. Shabbat. He said, you can touch his life, just don't take it. Ooh. So when Job got full of boils and he shaved his head and he picked up some dirt and put it on himself and sat there in sackcloth and ashes, he said, though he slay me, yet will I trust him, because he knows what's best. I wonder if our constitution in God is that strong. Oh. Let's get back to, he says, did I stop in 5 or 4?
You had finished 3.
I'd finished 3. Why, in verse 4, have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? Oh, them miracles. Manna from on high, parting of the Red Sea. All of that. And yet they saying, we gonna die. Verse 5, and wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place. Now, before I go any further, I told you that, well, let me read on. Yeah. Why have you brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us unto this evil place? It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces. And the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. Appeared unto them, meaning what? Huh? They saw the glory. Ooh, Jesus. Curse. 7, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. Okay. What rock? We're 110 miles away now from where he smoked the rock. What rock?
That same rock.
Huh?
The same rock.
Okay, now we had a conversation, didn't we, about how big of a rock it takes for millions of people to see at the same time. Y'all follow me? Now, y'all trying to tell me, Sister Gloria said it. Let me just throw her under. Yes, sir?
And that same rock followed it.
Ooh-wee. Okay. Let's look at the time that this occurred in the Bible. They did not have machinery to move that rock, to carry that rock through the wilderness, whatever. I'm going to stop right there. They ain't had nothing to move that rock with. So my question is, how did the rock get there? 110 miles. A rock this big. How could it possibly have moved? Oh, you can tell folk that have been in Bible study. Ain't nothing too hard for the Lord. You heard. It ain't no explanation, is it? God did it. God shut up. And as Deacon quoted the scripture, and that rock that followed them was who? Christ. God shut up. Remember that. That rock represented Christ. Who shall church folk can push your buttons. I'm trying to tell you. I don't know if y'all know that or not.
Oh, yes.
Especially, not all, but some of them that have talent. Ooh. Some of them that are workers in the church can push your buttons. This is what happened with Moses. He allowed the people to make him respond. All right, let's read. Latter clause of 6, the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts to drink. That was the directive from God. Speak to the rock. 9. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. God does. What authority he gives you, you don't use that authority without permission. That rod was used in Egypt to turn the river into blood. That rod was used to strike the rock back in Horeb, and water came from it. But here he told him, take it with you. Take it with you. Moses took, in verse 9, Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he was commanded him, as he commanded him. Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation and read that. No, we didn't. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. I told you, these millions of people, this rock was huge. And he said unto them, hear now, ye rebels, must we, who is we? Huh? Him and Aaron. Don't ever take the glory from God. Him and Aaron was just merely following orders. God made the water come out of the rock. Gosh, who ever heard tell of water coming out of a rock anyhow? Jesus. Enough to quench the thirst of millions of people and their beasts. Go figure. No, it ain't no we. But that's what he said. Must we? You see, when he called them rebels, he allowed his anger. Oh, glory. I told you, folk can push your buttons. And you in the flesh, you got a temper if you ain't careful. If you ain't careful. Ah, glory. And sometimes when you're quiet about it, because you don't want to run off at the mouth, you think it's best that I don't say nothing right now, that can go the wrong way. Oh, I don't mean that much to you. You can't give me an answer now. I ain't got one now. If you know, because what I'm going to tell you, if God ain't led me that way, it ain't going to work. So, verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. Even though Moses messed up here by not doing exactly what God told him to do, God still blessed his people. God wasn't going to let the disobedience of one man cause the people to suffer. It said that the water came out abundantly. God knew that you didn't do it my way, but I'm going to bless these people, but I'm going to deal with you. Ooh, Jesus. Now, verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron. Why both of them? Moses was the one that smote the rock twice. What Aaron have to do? Well, listen to this now. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into land which I've given them. And they didn't. Who did? Joshua. Why was Aaron also punished? Huh? Mm-hmm. Huh?
They may, I'm just indicating, they may have discussed that.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Aaron had some input. God don't punish the innocent. He had, they done discussed this. Yeah, I know God told me to speak to that rock, but these stiff-necked rebels done made, they done got on my last nerve. Now, he's had issues with them all the way through the wilderness. This is the breaking point. I'm up to here. What should Moses have done to calm his anger? Because he called them rebels. And a rebel is a person that rebels against God's authority. You rebels. So, what could he have done?
Same thing he did in Horeb.
Huh?
Same thing he did in Horeb.
Uh-huh.
Went back to the Lord.
Yeah. Oh, sure, yeah. You know, or you should know, when you're not in the frame of mind to dispense any kind of chastening. If it comes to where somebody needs to be chastened, well, let's go back to Genesis. When Adam messed up, when did God come to visit him? Why? Why did it tell us in the cool of the day? Why was that? Why do we need to know it was in the cool of the day? Okay. Yeah. It was indicative of his attitude. Gosh, because he had to have been angry to see his masterpiece fall, even though he knew it, but to see it is something else. So I'm not going down right now because he'll be a greasy spot. I got to wait. Let my anger subside. And listen, I used to, especially when they first came on the apostolic scene, Iona Locke was a very, very anointed speaker. And I remember, I don't know if she was at Pip or what in Youngstown, but she was saying how heaven is a utopia. It's a perfect place that there is no anger in heaven. So if there is a need for God to be angry, he pushes it down on his servants. So when Adam and Eve fell, there was nobody he could push the anger on. He had to absorb him himself. That's why he waited till the cool of the evening. But now he pushes it down on his leaders. You tell them. Oh, glory. So, he says in 12, because you believe me not, to sanctify me. Y'all help me with that. To sanctify me. Now, to sanctify means to separate. So how was Moses supposed to sanctify God in front of the people at this rock? Doing what he told him to do and not using his own mind, which he did. He didn't separate that. A workman needeth not be ashamed, study, show yourself approved. Rightly, yes. Dividing it from what? From what you think. Y'all ain't with me. From how you think it should be ministered. Let me get my thoughts out of the way. If he'd done that, he wouldn't have called them rebels. If he'd have done that, he wouldn't have smoked the rock twice. If he'd have done that, he would have spoke to the rock. But that didn't show enough anger. I got to show y'all how mad I am. We have to contain our flesh. I'm trying to think. It was some pastor had an issue with his congregation, and I forget what name he called them, but they never forgave him for it. And see, listen, saints, in Job, there was a day when the sons of God came to worship God. And who came with them?
Satan came also.
He came also. You got to remember this. Satan comes to church every Sunday. He in here every Sunday. Somebody brought him in. I make sure it ain't me. He'll ride in on somebody's attitude. Oh, glory. Oh, Shia. Somebody ain't somewhere. Some went down to home. Some went down in the week. Some went down on the job. This doesn't happen, that doesn't happen. And they bring that devil to church. Now, once the devil gets in, he's seeking who else can I jump on? Huh? And if I got him in me and I sat beside you, he's sure looking at you. What you do? He wanting to, and that way he can put a damper on the whole service. You got to rebuke him. You got to rebuke him. In me, first of all. Never mind Brother Johnny and Sister Jane. Oh, Lord, would you rebuke that devil over? Let me deal with myself. If everybody deal with themselves, we'll be all right. So he said, because ye believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. Did anybody know the story? How did the Lord appease Moses since he couldn't bring them into the land? What did God do for him?
He let him look over it.
Yes, he did. Now, question. Matthew 17. I'm not going to leave Moses out here like that. Did God forgive Moses? Huh? Oh, how we know? Boy, that's a blanket answer. He's a forgiving God. Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Matthew 17. Let's look at verse 1. After 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart. Why Peter, James, and John? At this time, were there not 12 or 11? All right, we'll say Judas was gone, maybe. Why only Peter, James, and John? Closest to him. You see, there are levels that you can get closer to God than somebody else. It depends on you. Don't depend on me, it don't depend on nobody, it depends on you. Verse 2, and was transfigured before them. Tell me what transfigured is. Okay, we got,
The image change.
okay. What does the world call people that they say have transitioned from male to female? Transgender. Transgender. How the devil try to mix the Bible into stuff. Trans. I'm a trans. I don't know, saints. Now, I had a problem. I think it was before we moved here. I went to a Starbucks on, that's Greenfield. Yeah, Greenfield. Went to a Starbucks. I went inside. And this person behind the counter had a button. I'm a trans. I couldn't tell what they was transing from or to. I couldn't make it out. I don't know. But I had a problem with them waiting on me. I can't help it, saints. It was something just started crawling in me. I don't know. I got on an elevator in a hospital. I don't know where it was or what I was doing there. And on this elevator comes this man with women's jewelry, lipstick, women's clothing, but you could tell he was, and had on scrubs, worked there. How y'all feel? Boy, y'all get quiet.
I don't care for it either.
That's against nature. That's all against, and I got news for you. When the graves open, you coming out of that grave like you come out of your mama. I don't care what they done cut off or what they done sewed on. You coming out the way you was born. That's how you gonna be judged. Jesus. All right. And was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them, they saw Moses, Elias, that's Elijah, talking with him. That's a sure enough sign that God had forgave Moses of his disobedience. Amen. Remember our subject tonight, obey God at all costs. Don't let folks push you into making decisions without you seeking God. I'm done. God bless y'all tonight.